Watching the world burn, watching the world burn, March 7th, 2026. Let's get into it. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to talk about one quick little thing. I'm still working on the video studio, and I got to plant a garden. Temperatures are getting pretty hot here in Florida, so forgive me if I'm not going to be posting videos all the time. Let's just hit the thing up front. We want to say hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want to avoid censorship, because I'm heavily censored on X and I'm heavily censored on YouTube, go to the Burn channel on Rumble and now the Burn channel on BitChute. I really like BitChute. They're coming into their own. Obviously I was on Odyssey, but that didn't work out. All right, so let's talk about things. We got to get into it. If you didn't know, we had a nice nuclear deal with Iran, and Trump trashed that. He did another surprise attack. So twice now we've been negotiating with Iran, and Trump decided to launch a surprise attack on him. We took out the supreme leader. We've inflamed the entire Middle East. By the way, I just want to give you some details on what that nuclear deal would have entailed. Iran was willing to give up their entire nuclear program, and they were also going to let Russia and the United States, together with the international inspection from the United Nations, come in and monitor their nuclear program. And we trashed all of that. And so now, as far as I can tell, it looks like Iran's on their way to a nuclear bomb. According to Scott Ritter, well, they should be there in about another week or two because they've got all that enriched uranium. So that's your Neo Caligula, satanic pedophile, idiot President Trump that has done all this. The news on the Kurds invading Iran on behalf of the United States seem to be going down the tubes. From what I understand, the Kurds have told Trump, no way in hell. And from what I understand, there might be some special forces there with them. And then, of course, I've heard the 82nd Airborne Division is being activated. That may be on their way to try to invade Iran. That's not going to work out too well. In the previous video, the aircraft carrier that I told you was burning, that was an old video from 2020. And you know what? I didn't even know an aircraft carrier was on fire in 2020. Did you? I don't even recall that story being in the news. So there's no evidence yet that a carrier has been struck by any sort of missile. I always try to keep you updated and correct anything that I get wrong. Larry Johnson reports that hospitals in Germany have been told to get blood donors, and I wonder why that is, huh? And that's where, if you have injured U.S. soldier, that's usually where they're evacuated to. You do your own math. You do you. So it seems like casualties are much more highly there than what's being reported. If you didn't know, Iran blew up some Amazon data centers in the Middle East. I didn't even know we had Amazon data centers in the Middle East. But that's a hell of a target. And if you didn't know, I mean, it's been all over the news. China and Russia are giving Iran the targeting data. So I imagine that would be high on my list if I were Iran and China. And so they're using Iran now as a proxy to really, really hurt the United States. So by taking out those data centers, that definitely hurt. This is global dissident. Something big just happened, and this is a different story. We'll get onto this, but before we get back to the Iran-U.S. war, BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, just blocked withdrawals. This is kind of weird. Investors tried to pull about $1.2 billion from its $26 billion private credit fund. BlackRock said no and capped all withdrawals at 5%. Nearly half of the investors who wanted out were denied their money. At the same time, Blackstone faced record withdrawals and had to inject $400 million of its own cash. And so when the biggest funds on earth start limiting withdrawals, it's a major warning son, for the entire $1.8 trillion private credit market. No shit. That's a big financial story. Last I checked, silver was sitting around close to $90. Of course, Brent crude hit $90 yesterday. I imagine over the weekend we're going to see over $100 a barrel Brent crude, a barrel, $100 a barrel. So hold on to your jock straps. I hope you have filled up your gas tank. Luckily, I have a Toyota Prius Prime, and it runs mainly off of electricity because I don't have to travel nowhere. Everybody I know is dead, so I don't go any long drives or anything. But those of you with a long commute, you're going to be hurting here soon. Let's keep going. This is Asian Defense Observer. Like I said, it's going to be a long video. The Iraqi state forces under the leadership of a brave and dynamic general, Abdul Amir, the war veteran of the Gulf War, is openly confronting with United States forces based in Iraq. The Iraqi army is challenging the U.S. forces, thus providing help to Iran. So yeah, there's a base in Iraq that's on fire. All kinds of videos out about that. That's cross-referenced, definitely for sure. So it looks like Iraq is attacking the United States. So now they've joined the war for the most part. And of course, we know Hezbollah has joined the war down in Lebanon. And of course, Pakistan. I've been watching some videos on that. They lost, I don't know, about 15 people in that consulate attack, which was I put up in a previous video. You do the math. This is Tara Reid. If you didn't know Tara Reid, she was raped by Joe Biden, and she had to move to Russia for asylum, and they provided her with asylum, and so she's now on RT from time to time, and so she does some reporting, but she's saying that we've bombed 4 schools, 4 more schools, in Iran, by the U.S. and Israel in 4 days, killing innocents, children. They are setting no one free. And now the White House says this is going to last 6 months or more, adding that the Americans may have to all die as well. All this to protect the Epstein United States satanic Trump. Of course, I'm adding to it right here. The Epstein satanic Trump pedophile administration in the United States. So we'll see where that goes. America, they are not interested in protecting you or your children. So we've killed, as of last count, 175 children. That was the first school. So now that we bombed 4 more, I would imagine we're probably up to maybe 500, 600 kids that we've killed now in Iran. So you can imagine the Iranians are a little bit pissed off at this point. So Iran launches, and I was telling you in the last video that Iran's doing these in waves of missiles. And so now we're up to the 24th wave of missiles. And so I got a video on that. All right, there you go. So let's. This was an interesting video, and I meant to put it in the last video. This is, if you didn't know, they had this big prayer thing around Trump here recently. A lot of the Zionist Christian lunatics were all gathered around Trump. No wonder he's no wonder he's getting such bad advice. But this is his spiritual advisor. And I'm going to tell you what, this is torturous. You might want to just fast forward through this next section because this woman is a complete lunatic. But these are the people that are surrounding Trump. Let's watch that now.
Strike and 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 strike until you have victory. For every enemy that is aligned against you, let there be that we would strike the ground, for you will give us victory, God. I hear a sound of abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of shouting and singing. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. I hear a sound of an abundance of rain. I hear a sound of victory. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. The Lord says it is done. For I hear victory, 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 victory in the corridors of heaven. In the corridors of heaven, victory, 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 victory. For angels are being released right now. Angels are being dispatched right now. Hamanda aka ata raka teda baka sanda ata ambo osa kata rite eke banda ata rike didi ashata. For angels have even been dispatched from Africa right now. Africa right now. Africa right now. From Africa right now. They're coming here. They're coming here. In the name of Jesus. From South America. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. They're coming here. From Africa. From South America. Angelic forces. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Angelic reinforcement. Fika hata anda ata. Ora bata rata ande eke eke manda rasata. For I hear the sound of victory. 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 I hear the sound of victory.
Okay, so let's keep going. So now we're into this is Iran 24. They're putting up a lot of good Iranian propaganda. Or news, whichever way you want to look at it. I look at most of it as news. I don't know if I talked about it in the last video. I talked about that carrier on fire. That was a false story. Okay, so it doesn't look like a carrier's been hit. All right, let's keep going. So in a joint in a joint missile and drone operation, the 23rd wave of Operation Al-Weed Al-Siddiq 4 was carried out. In this wave, we targeted with a new generation solid and liquid fueled missiles locations in occupied territories and U.S. bases in the region. Among the targets were U.S. forces headquarters in Al-Shish, Isa, Ali Salam, Al-Jufair, and Azik bases. We also struck advanced technology centers, cybersecurity centers, and military support centers in the Basharia area. So yeah, they're lighting up the entire Middle East. Boy, I tell you, it's good to have Trump as a freaking leader, right? What a, pardon my French, freaking idiot. All right, so let's keep going. This is Iran 24 again. Iranian Armed Forces Combat Operations Report Friday. So yeah, another news is kind of out of date, but you know, I can only keep up with so much. I actually have to live a life. You know, I got leaves to blow. I got a garden to plant. I got to do my laundry. You know, I got to get some sleep from time to time. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, Aerospace Force, has released its detailed operational report for Friday, major combat operations, which began with the call Yal Hassin Ibn Ali, peace be upon him. Okay, yeah, so I'm glad the translation was there. Air defense operations. So in the skies of Kyrgyzstan, the pride of the Zionist industry, a Hermes 900 drone was brought down by our air defenses. It was followed by an advanced Heron drone that dared to violate the airspace of Iffahan. Damn it. Sorry. I have a hard time pronouncing all these words. Both meeting their fate as burning wreckage. Offensive operations. Swarms of suicide drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles launched a devastating retaliatory strike targeting Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. resulting in the annihilation of radar facilities, satellite stations, and the destruction of fuel depots. We reported on that in a previous video. Maybe not the fuel depots, but we did report on the radars. Simultaneously, Ali al-Salem, Salem Air Base in Kuwait was struck by a precision ballistic missile, which destroyed the advanced early warning radar, demolished the base's runways, completely destroyed hangars housing U.S. U-2 spy planes. I didn't even know we had U-2 spy planes anymore. And the lethal MQ-9 drones. Let's keep going. We're going to go through all these notes. This is going to be a long video. Afara Air Base in the UAE was not spared from our wrath, targeted by suicide drone swarms that turned its installations into balls of fire. On the eve of the birth of the Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba, peace be upon him, and with the call of Ya Mu'etz el-Mu'minin, our missiles struck the heart of Tel Aviv, Haifa, and the Ben Gurion Airport. Destruction of the air defense systems. The battle today witnessed the crushing of American THAAD missile systems in Jordan and the UAE, and the destruction of the giant FPS-132 radar in Qatar. Boy, I tell you, they're lighting up the whole Middle East here. Targeting U.S. personnel. Suicide drones swarms continued to pound the hotels and residences of American Army officers and commanders in Bahrain, following the complete destruction of the U.S. Fifth Fleet installations. At the same time of writing, Qatam al-Anbiya Headquarters Command confirms precise monitoring of strikes that have resulted in a number killed and wounded among American terrorist army in Manama. Other fronts, we got destructive strikes continue against terrorist groups in northern Iraq. This is overwhelming superiority was crowned by participation of terrifying. This is I think this is the new missile they've just unveiled, the Khorramshahr 4 missile. That's the Khorramshahr. And then we got, of course, Hezbollah that has entered into the battle. Hezbollah implemented its threat to displace settlers from the northern occupied Palestine. In other words, they've entered the war. The Islamic resistance in Iraq has introduced heavy missiles into the field and continues to pound enemy bases. It's either jihad, victory, or martyrdom. We got Max Blumenthal reporting here. By the way, I tell you what, Max Blumenthal is probably one of the most smartest people I've ever seen on the planet. He's a Jew, by the way. Imagine that. A smart Jew. And I don't mean that to be derogatory, but it seems like a lot of the Jews in Israel are not too smart. I guess they're just Zionist Jews, which there must be a marked difference between a regular Christian type Jew and then a Zionist Jew. Just like there's a difference between a Zionist Christian and a regular Christian like me who believes in Jesus. So he says, former Israeli Defense Minister Benny Gantz declares that he won't rule out American boots on the ground in Iran. Every U.S. service member needs to see this to understand who's calling the shots. Well, we know Israel's calling the shots. They rule the United States. Let's watch that video.
Do you think eventually there will be a need for boots on the ground?
I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes forward.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
I exclude nothing. We've been waiting for 47 years, and we came to a point that every necessary means should be taken in order to achieve our goals.
What we're seeing from...
All right, so let's keep going. This is Mohammed Shafa. This is a picture of Tehran for you uneducated, untraveled, never-served war hawks licking your chops at the thought of bombing it. It's not the same low-population desert. There are families, children, family pets, regular working-class people with dreams, you sick Christian Zionists who want nothing but war. And so, of course, I've got the picture up right here. And it's depressing. So this city is being destroyed by the United States and Israel. I was listening to right-wing radio yesterday. You got Sean Hannity and Mark Levins and Clay and Buck. They're all cheering the fact that we're destroying Iran. It's all good. It's all good. Let's keep going. So this is No Limit Alpha. I tell you what, this No Limit account. By the way, I ran yesterday's post through Grok to see how accurate No Limit reporting is. And it was about spot on, about 90% accurate. Some of it somewhat exaggerated. Now, the first post that I read to you, Grok felt that was terribly exaggerated. But I was trying to bring home the point of what's going on in the war. So please understand, I'm trying to give you the facts as they're coming out. And I do, I tell you, like I said, the AIs are getting better and better and better. And that's why I'm still working on the video studio, because I have to keep running my notes through the AIs to get everything right. By the way, it's kind of like that song, you got one shot, because once I commit to the video studio server with Linux Mint 22.3, that's going to be the operating system. And by the way, I'm still doing research on the operating system. I just found out about a new feature called web apps, which is really cool. You might want to go up on YouTube and learn something about that. So, because once I build that server completely, I'm not going back. It's not like I'm going to refresh that server again. I'm committed to about 2029. It's kind of like Windows. When you buy a laptop, for example, with Windows 11 or whatever, and you've got that laptop, do you sit there and redo the operating system every other day? No. Like my laptop right here. I'll probably keep, just doing updates for the next year or two. And so that's where I'm at with the server. So I got to get it right the first time. So this is No Limit Alpha, and he's done a good job. Iran makes an announcement that changes everything. The missiles they've been firing at Israel for 8 days, those were old missiles made between 2010 and 2014. They haven't even used the new ones yet. Everything that overwhelmed Iran's dome, old tech. Every building destroyed in Tel Aviv, old missiles. Every cluster munition that got through, a decade old. Every defense system drained, fighting yesterday's weapons. Now they're saying the advanced missiles are coming. The ones built in the last 2 to 3 years, faster, smarter, harder to intercept. If the old missiles already got through Israeli defenses, destroyed 200 plus buildings, forced 70,000 reservists to be called up, overwhelmed billion-dollar defense systems, what happens when the new ones arrive? Israel's defense budget is bleeding. U.S. Tomahawk supply is already gone. Interceptor missiles cost $2 million each, and Iran was just warming up. 8 days of war with outdated weapons, and they still cause this much damage. The real war hasn't even started yet. My God, understatement of the year. Holy shit. Yeah. And the Neo-Caligula satanic Emperor Trump has really launched us into the shit storm now. I'm going to tell you what, American people, hold on to your jock straps. You're looking at $200 a barrel oil. Probably, I would imagine the precious metals are going to take off here soon. If you haven't thought about planting a garden, you might want to start thinking about it. Stock up on your seeds and get to your gardening. That's what I'm going to be doing. Sprinter Press, it's a great channel on X. They've been doing a lot of great reporting. So this is them. Iran Brigadier General Ki Omar's Hidari. We are waging a fierce battle at sea, in the air, and in space against the globalist America. We have come face to face with the Americans in a historic battle that the U.S. Military has not experienced throughout its shameful and criminal existence, and they will immediately face very severe and regrettable consequences. Yeah, we're getting there. Understatement. Sprinter Press, this is a different post. The United States lost about $2 billion worth of military equipment in the first 4 days of its attacks on Iran. According to reports, those losses include damaged radar systems, destroyed fighter jets, and lost communication equipment. Last count, I think we're up to about, confirmed, 6 fighter jets down, 3 F-15s over Kuwait, an F-18, and I think there's 2 others that that we kind of know about. Like I said, the news is kind of hard to get because there's definitely in Israel, there's a complete news blackout. They're censoring everything. And of course, the United States is censoring everything. And we started out talking about the casualties. I would imagine we're up to about 2, 3, 5,000 U.S. casualties at this point. Yeah, wait till them body bags start coming home. Then the American people that are just mushrooms sitting in their houses know nothing about any of this stuff. This is Syed Mohammed Marandi. And if you didn't know, Marandi is he's a professor at the University of Iran. He's been doing a lot of good reporting. He's been on a lot of channels. I'm surprised he's not dead yet, but because I imagine the United States and Israel have him in their target sites. He hasn't seen his family in a while. Like, good for him. At least he tucked away his family. By the way, if you didn't know, when we killed the supreme leader, his grandkid was there and a couple of other family members. So he wasn't expecting that surprise attack because, like I said, we were in negotiations, and just like when Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, we did the same thing to Iran twice now. All right, so I have learned that the commander of Iran's missile forces said in a meeting this afternoon, "We have many surprises in store in the coming days, and only a small part of Iran's missile defense and drone capabilities have been unveiled so far. We have updated our target bank and will have new surprises for the enemy in the coming days." So yeah, oh yeah, and I forgot to talk about this. I got a video on it. Maybe I'll put it right here. But it's got what they've got is they've got these new missiles. I forget the name of them, and they come up in at about 3,000 feet. They break up into these cluster munitions, and of course those cluster munitions kind of rain down smaller bombs, and so that makes them impossible to shoot down with the THAADs or the Patriot missiles. And it's a hell of a weapon, and that's one of the new ones.
נראה לי שהיית מספיק בחדשות, שקט.
אמא, לב.
נכון, זה נופל, באמא. זה אלה שמתפצלים.
אבל למה אין אזעקה?
זה מיורט. זה לא מיורט, אתה מתפצלים. לא, זה אלה שמתפצלים, ניב. זה מתפצל, אל תגיד.
אבל תראו, אין פה כלום, אין זה.
לא, יש, פשוט הם נעלמים. זה לא נעלם. כי זה מיורט.
אבל בואו נראה עכשיו אם זה נופל.
נראה לי שהיית מספיק בחדשות, שקט.
אמא, לב.
נכון, זה נופל, באמא. זה אלה שמתפצלים.
אבל למה אין אזעקה?
זה מיורט. זה לא מיורט, אתה מתפצלים. לא, זה אלה שמתפצלים, ניב.
אבל תראו, אין פה כלום, אין זה.
לא, יש, פשוט הם נעלמים. זה לא נעלם. כי זה מיורט.
אבל בואו נראה עכשיו אם זה נופל.
And so now they're bringing out the hypersonics. So boy, I tell you, I'm glad I'm not in the Middle East. I always got to use Dmitry Medvedev. He's my hero. I love this guy. The Gulf Arab countries let American bases onto their territory. Naively, they expected protection from them. Like hell, the United States just uses them while protecting only one country. Think long and hard about whether you really need U.S. bases. They're not protection, they're a threat. Yeah, no shit. We only protect Israel. That's for damn sure. They own the U.S. government. No limit again. And by the way, some of these things are a little bit dated, but you probably don't know them. So I'm just going to read these to you. I've been trying to take out the old news and just keep it kind of up to date. So the Pentagon announced a major escalation, a full gravity bombing campaign. Hexa says the United States now has near complete control of Iranian skies and will begin dropping 500-pound, 1,000-pound, and 2,000-pound GPS-guided bombs. Said they have a nearly unlimited stockpile. So we're going to be killing a lot more civilians in Iran. That's all we're good at. We're not good at hitting the military targets, though. His words, we are accelerating, not deaccelerating. More and larger waves are coming. We are just getting started. The Senate voted down, I had a great video of Thomas Massey, and he made a huge speech to Congress saying that the Congress needs to get more involved in the war and exert its power. And, of course, the Congress came back and just voted. And of course, we'll get to that vote here in a second.
As the war with Iran expands, the question now facing Congress is pretty simple. Who decided the United States should be fighting it? And that question just triggered a major battle on Capitol Hill because last night, senators held a vote on whether or not President Donald Trump should be required to get congressional approval before launching any more strikes on Iran. But that resolution failed. In fact, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul was the only single Republican to vote for Congress to take up their constitutional role of declaring war. But again, the measure failed, meaning that the president can continue military operations without any kind of new authorization. And maybe even more importantly, not one single senator or member of Congress has had to vote for this war. And if it goes badly, which so far it's not going great, they won't have to defend their vote for what could be a disastrous war. Tonight, the neocons are celebrating.
But when the regime falls, and it's not if, it's when, the people of Iran will have a new chance, I hope, to start anew. I don't know what will happen, but I know it will be their decision. It's not our decision. America's not going to go in and run Iran. We're going to try to take down a terrorist regime that is bent on our destruction.
Yeah, it's all so messy, but there you have it. The United States has entered a war without a congressional vote, and the consequences continue to pile up.
6 Americans have already died for an illegal war that no one in this country wants. 900 to 1,000 people in the region have died. U.S. embassies all over the region are under attack. Thousands of Shia Muslims in Pakistan right now are protesting a Shia insurgency targeting the United States in the works. Iranian missile and drone attacks have hit targets as far away as Cyprus. Oil prices up by 9%. Gasoline prices, their largest one-day increase in 20 years. Natural gas prices up 45%. The region is in chaos. American consumers are paying the price. And for what? We still don't even know the reason for this war.
Which, of course, brings us back to that moment inside the Senate. A former Marine shouting that Americans should not be sent to war for another country. But let's not forget, he was removed by force. So while lawmakers just voted to continue the conflict. And the very difficult question that we do have to confront here, right? Who is actually driving this war in the first place? Because journalist Glenn Greenwald posted today reports that Israeli intelligence had obtained information earlier this week that raised suspicions that some kind of communications had taken place between Iran and the Trump administration to discuss a ceasefire. On Monday, Netanyahu called the White House officials and asked if such talks or exchange of messages had happened. The White House told Bibi that the Trump administration wasn't talking to the Iranians behind his back, end quote. Apparently, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's advisor and son-in-law Jared Kushner talk almost every day, according to this article, to Netanyahu, to the director of Mossad, and to other Israeli officials. So the bottom line here, the fact that a sitting U.S. president would be referred to as talking behind Netanyahu's back, well, that's the kind of accusation that is driving so much division over this war. Who continues to drive it? And to what end?
The Senate voted down the War Powers Resolution. This is what the Thomas Massie, by the way, I won't show you that video because it's outdated, but it was a great speech. He did a great speech. 47 to 53. Rand Paul was the only Republican to vote yes. Fetterman was the only Democrat to vote no. The war continues with no congressional check. House votes Thursday. We might as well not have a U.S. Congress. I mean, all we have is Emperor Trump. Iran has now threatened to strike Israel's Dimona nuclear reactor if the U.S. and Israel attempt to topple the regime. So yeah, like I said in the last video, we're going to go nuclear with this thing. Hexeth confirmed the United States killed the leader of the Iranian unit that plotted to assassinate Trump. He was hunted down and killed. I don't know what that's all about. The U.S. has now sunk 20-plus Iranian vessels, including the IRIS Dina, an Iranian submarine, and the drone helicopter carrier Shahid Bagheri. Yeah, I saw the video. I don't have it for this, but yeah, we definitely sunk the carrier, the drone carrier. That's been all over the news. So yeah, we're doing good. We've taken out, but you have to understand, a lot of the Iranian Navy is not about their big ships. It's about a lot of smaller ships that have missiles mounted on them that can hit U.S. That's why the no way we're going to be given escort in the Hormuz No way we're going to be giving. And by the way, that last video was on the Straits of Hormuz, so you might want to watch that because those smaller speedboats and everything, they've got missiles mounted on them, and they would take down even our ships. By the way, there's reports that at least one American ship has gone down. Iraq suffered a total blackout after Iranian strikes hit infrastructure across the country. So, yeah, Iran hit Iraq pretty good, and like I said, Iraq's entered the war, and so they're storming the U.S. bases there. I imagine there's not going to be many Americans alive in Iraq too much longer. Israel's Home Front Command is relaxing shelter guidelines for the first time since the war began, starting Thursday noon, a sign that incoming Iranian fire is slowing. So the IRGC said it struck Kurdish bases in the Iraqi Kurdistan. Loud explosions reported in Erbil, E-R-B-I-L. Hexeth on China and Russia. They are not really a factor. Our problem is Iran's nuclear ambitions. Yeah, right. We had Iran. They were willing to give up their entire nuclear program, and then the Emperor Trump decided that we were going to attack because Netanyahu's got dirt, probably Trump with some sort of pedophile kid somewhere. Everybody in the world's calling it the Epstein administration. Let's see. Hexeth on China and Russia. They are not really a factor. Our problem is Iran's nuclear ambitions. Okay, I'm sorry. I already read that one. Iran's rate of ballistic missile launches has significantly declined since day one. Analysts say their stockpiles are depleting and they're rationing for a longer war. Now, I dispute that statement. It seems to me that they're just bringing out the new stuff at this point. Non-essential American workers in Cyprus were asked to evacuate. State Department told Americans to avoid travel to Cyprus entirely. European nations are deploying warships to defend the island. 7 children were reported killed in Lebanon in the last 24 hours. I imagine it's more than that. The Pentagon is preparing a supplemental funding request for Congress. The U.S. Appropriations Committee confirmed Defense Department is working on a new package now. Yeah, I think they're going to ask for another $500 billion in budget. So thank God your bridges and your schools and everything else are being sacrificed for this war on Iran, for Israel. Ground offensive, gravity bombs, Kurdish insurgency, nuclear threats. They say that we're just getting started, day 6 of the war. This is Samuel Brute. I've never heard of this guy, but he's given us some numbers. I have no way of knowing whether this is true or not, but translated from French, according to the Russian intelligence with irrefutable documents in support, the Israeli losses in the first 3 days, of course, this is the first 3 days, so now we're in day 7 or day 8? I don't know where we are. I've lost track, man. I tell you, all I do is work 24 hours a day. 37 Mossad agents, they've killed 6 Israeli generals, 37 Mossad agents, 78 from the Shin Bet, 198 Air Force officers, 462 soldiers, 11 nuclear scientists, and 432 reservists. All dead. Well, he says these are enormous figures. I mean, compared to Iran, I'd say these aren't enormous, but do not take into account the civilians. We estimate thousands, and some still under the rubble. This is David again. Odessa. Let's get to the Ukraine war for just 1 second. Odessa is getting hit hard. So we got a huge column of fire and explosions. Odessa is under a massive attack. Explosions, a column of fire after an attack by Iran drones, which continue to bombard enemy targets. There are reports that a series of explosions and secondary detonations are hitting the target in the port of Odessa. And by the way, that's been some news that came out that the Russians and the Iranians were sharing drone technology. And so I guess the United States has picked up a few of those drones that Iran is using, and they found Russian chips in those drones. Imagine that, which is helping them with the targeting. And then, of course, Iran and Russia are giving Iran satellite information for them to do targeting. And, of course, the United States is crying wolf. They're going like, oh my God, how can you give Iran targeting information? Well, what the United States has been doing for Ukraine since when the war started back in February of 2022, we've been giving Ukraine targeting information from our satellites. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander, baby. All right, so let's keep going. Sprinter Press, Deputy Commander of the Staff of Qatam al-Anbiya of the IRGC, we will fill American coffins. I might have read this one in a past video, but it doesn't hurt to repeat it again. We intend not to just break the America's horn and leave it in despair. We will not give up this war. We will continue until the shipping waters are filled with the coffins of U.S. officers, non-commissioned officers and soldiers, which they will take back to America with them. And I got a video on that. Let's watch that. All right, so let's keep going. We don't care how long the war will last. We survived an 8-year war and will end this one when we achieve our goals and make the enemy regret their shameful act and lose all hope. This is Simon Adiba. If you don't know, he's kind of a pro-United States reporter, but I think he's from South Africa. But anyway, let's just keep going. Iran claims it bombed a U.S. oil tanker in northern Persian Gulf after the United States said it sank an Iranian warship in international waters. They did sink. I had the last video. I showed you the sinking of that ship. It had no weapons. It had been conducting a parade in India, and India didn't defend it, which is terrible. And then, of course, we left after sinking that ship. We left the sailors in the water, which is, in my opinion, an international war crime for them to drown. So we killed everybody on board this ship. Returning from a naval exercise in India, killing at least 87 sailors. I think the count was more than 87. The Epstein Axis bombed Tehran's, this is Adam Media, if you ever want to watch him on X. The Epstein Axis bombed Tehran's 12,000-seat Azadi football stadium. They're intentionally taking out civilian targets. Yeah, they have a real nice football stadium. Imagine bombing one of our football stadiums. And for what purpose? Why destroy a football stadium? I guess they're trying to demoralize the civilians. It was a 12,000-seat stadium. So, yeah, it's destroyed now. Sprinter Press again. Lavrov will do everything to make an operation against Iran impossible. This is not our close friend. All those who suffer from aggression by the United States and Israel are our strategic partners, and we maintain dialogue with them. We will do everything we can to cooperate with each other peaceful members of the international community, including the UN Security Council and the General Assembly, to create an atmosphere that will make both an operation completely impossible, said the head of Russian diplomacy. We got a lot of quotes here from Lavrov. And understand, when Lavrov says something, he's talking for Putin or the entire Russian government. Lavrov, one of the goals of the operation against Iran is to sow discord among Middle Eastern countries. What is currently happening in the Middle East is a result of Israeli and American aggression against Iran, truly carries the risk of huge negative consequences for the whole world, for global stability and the world economy, said the head of the Russian diplomacy. Yeah, understatement of the year. He also added that there are few disputes within the United States about the true goals of the operation against Iran. Yeah, what is our goal? I guess we definitely want to topple the regime. We definitely want to Balkanize Iran and get their oil, just like we did with Venezuela. I don't know. Other than that, I'm not sure what our goal is. And of course, it looks like we want to kill everybody in Iran. So I guess that's another goal. So he added, I have no doubt that one of the goals was to sow discord among the countries of the region, between the Persian Gulf states, between Iran and its Arab neighbors, among whom in recent years until recently a positive normalization process was underway, noted the foreign minister. Lavrov again. NATO is getting involved in the war against Iran. NATO is now getting involved in the war against Iran. It was like this in Ukraine, and now it's happening in the Middle East. This is indicative that NATO as it has long been involved in Ukrainian issues, is now getting involved in the war that the United States and Israel started against Iran. So yeah, Lavrov, I totally agree. Lavrov commented on the statement of NATO Secretary General, the alliance is ready to apply Article 5 on collective defense in the U.S. operation against Iran, emphasizing that Roots, if you didn't know, Root is the German chancellor, and statement means that NATO interests are where they are. So yeah, our European puppets, they may be, well, they're already in the war. France sent some ships. Greece sent some ships. Haven't heard anything about Italy. Come to think of it, I'm just kind of trying to go down the list. Spain seems to be kind of staying out of it. I don't know. Let's just keep going. So now we got Margarita or Margarita, yeah, cinnamon. Ground level images Western networks don't like to show for some reason. Hamadi, RT's bureau chief, takes a long tour through the destruction of Tehran. Okay, that was in the previous video. Sorry about that. Like I said, the notes are kind of going. Colonel McGregor reported that we have 50,000 troops going to Iran. Like I said, the 82nd Airborne has been called up. I don't believe really that they're going to go over there, but then of course we do have the fact that jihad, I think I reported on this in the last video, jihad has been declared in Yemen, Iraq, Hezbollah, Lebanon, and Syria. We got Health Ranger, an important new article. We must now prepare for the possibility of nuclear war and supply chain collapse. We did that in the previous video, so I can skip that. Like I said, the notes are kind of overlapping here. Excuse me. We got, this is Disclosed TV. Wow, I tell you what, Speaker Johnson, what a lapdog he is. They, Iran, have declared war upon us, and I don't believe in the semantics. We are not at war right now. We're just 4 days into a very specific, clear mission, an Operation Epic Fury. Yeah, Speaker Johnson. Yeah, we're not at war. I'm sorry, I got to laugh at that. What a freaking idiot. I want to use a different word there. Daniel Davis deep dive. Oh my God. I keep thinking that our politicians can't stoop no lower. And then I see something like this. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson makes George Orwell's 1984 book look like an elementary school child put it together to literally claim that we are not at war with Iran after we built up more combat power than we used in the war in 2003, which is the war I was in, then attack them along with Israel, and then they retaliate, point a finger at them. My God, this is pure insanity. With men like this at the top of government, how can we possibly escape politics that won't end up being the death of us all? I tell you, that's why I put that in here. Daniel Davis said it best. Our politicians are the biggest flipping idiots that I've ever seen. This is Health Ranger again. By the way, you guys definitely follow him on X. He does a lot of good posts. Can't argue with this. The fact that the U.S. government is now run by religious fanatics and end-time zealots. Canada hates Trump. This is another X channel. Marco Rubio, Iran is run by lunatics and religious fanatics. Paula White, Trump's religious fanatic. Yeah, we already played that video. So that's all over X right now. That is spiritual advisor. This is Syed Abbas Aghirchi. The U.S. has perpetrated an atrocity at sea 2,000 miles away from Iran's shores. We've already reported on this, but I'll give you a little more information on it. The frigate Dina, a guest of Indian's Navy, carrying almost 130 soldiers, so you heard the previous number. I told you it was much higher than that, was struck in international waters without warning. If you want the video on that, it's in my last video. Mark my words, the U.S. will come bitterly to regret the precedent that it has set. Wealth Watcher. Donald Trump ordered the U.S. Navy to escort oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran response, $200 oil soon. By the way, from what I understand now, the Pentagon has pushed back and said, no way in hell we're going to be escorting tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. But I left that in to remind me, to remind you that that probably is not going to take place. Douglas McGregor again, breaking. Iran is now targeting oil infrastructure in the Middle East. Drones attacked the Baku, Tbilisi, Xi'an pipeline in Georgian territory. So you can see this is all over. I mean, you got Georgian territory, you got jihad declared. The pipeline network provides 30% of Israelis' oil sources. So the whole world's going to be hurting for oil. I do hope you have a fuel-efficient car. I got a motorcycle that gets 100 miles to the gallon, and I got an electric car. So I guess I'm pretty well prepared for this. And I don't have to travel very far, and I'm stocked up on all my supplies. The only thing I got to get going is the garden, and I've been encouraging you to do that. This is Mataba Khomeini. We targeted U.S. infantry forces in Kuwait with dozens of destructive strikes. We targeted 160 American infantry sources in Dubai and killed 100 of them. We targeted the American base in Shahik, S-H-E-I-K-H, Issa area in Bahrain with missiles. Oh, by the way, Bahrain has gotten the shit blown out of it. I hear there's a revolution taking place there. And I don't know what the anger that Iran had with Bahrain, but from what I understand, their government there is a satanic, child-eating government, just like we have here in the United States. So it's a good thing that Iran's doing this. All right, with missiles and drones. Okay, this is Slavic Networks. This is a new channel. I've just kind of gotten turned on to this one. Iran supersonic hit rocks Baku. Massive explosions light up the Al-Bajani air skyline. Iranian sources claim a precision missile strike on exact location. Payback for Azerbaijan's oil supplies to Israel. 40% of their imports. And military ties. It's this war spreading to the Caracas. So yeah, you know what? I tell you what, Israel's going to be hurting. I guess my notes got out of order. Let's read this page first, and then we'll finish with this one off. Middle Eastern countries. What is currently happening in the Middle East as a result of Israeli and American aggression against Iran truly carries the risk of huge negative consequences for the whole world, for global stability and the world economy, says the head of the Russian diplomacy. Okay, this is going into Lavrov's. So yeah, this is just a repeat page. All right, that's it. I am That Cybersecurity Guy on YouTube. I'm also the Florida Man News Network, Florida MNN on YouTube. I am The Burn now on Rumble and BitChute. You can follow me on X at ThatCyberSecGuy or Gaius. I am Gaius Julius Caesar is my nickname on X. And I guess that's it for the video. I tell you what, I hope you're getting prepared. We talked about in the last video all the things that you need to be doing. And silver's still pretty cheap, even though it was about 84 last I checked. Peace out. Oh, and of course we got BlackRock going down. There's a lot of talk that the banks are going to start going down. So if you can get some cash out of the bank, I highly encourage you to do that. Peace out. Stay free. I hope I got that.
The devil went down to D.C. He was looking for a soul to claim. He was in a bind 'cause the swamp was deep, and the grift was running wild like flame. When he came across this crooked town, politicians wheeling day and night, shaking hands and pocketing cash in the shadow of the Capitol's light. The can't touch Washington, D.C. The devil tuned his fiddle, sparks flying from the bow, played a tune so foul the monuments shook. Lobbyists twirled, senators leered wide, but the swamp just laughed and swallowed his hook. Now the files are out, Epstein's dark list, names dropping like flies from the island mist. Clinton and Trump, Andrew and Moore, flying on jets to that pedo shore. Satanic whispers in the halls of power, pedophile rings in the government tower, blackmail and bribes, young souls for sale. The devil's shocked at the depth of this hell. Hell having the laws, redacting the names, but the swamp makes hell look tame. Lobbyists calling, got a huge pride to share. Senators smiling like they just don't care. They'll sell your future if the donor's right, pocketing billions in the pale moonlight. The whole damn swamp's a satanic spree. Even the devil flees Washington, D.C. Then BB came to town, Netanyahu in his prime. Jet lands in D.C., Congress stands in line. He steps to the podium, speech sharp as a blade. Lawmakers leap up, ovations cascade. 55 times they rise to their feet, clapping and cheering, kissing his seat. Democrats and Republicans, both sides unite, bowing and scraping in the Capitol light. The hunt his wants, ignore the Clydes, kiss his ring while the taxpayers sigh. The devil watches, jaw on the floor. This swamp's got a new overlord. Deep in D.C. where the Potomac seethes black, vipers in suits with their shadow packs, clutching power with a serpent's grip, taking your freedom in a crooked flip. They're running the town like a big old scam, corrupt to the core, don't give a damn. Trump's fierce gaze in a portrait stark lights the swamp with a devil's spark. Epstein's ghost on the marbled halls, flight logs screaming the midnight calls. Lobbyists calling, got a huge bribe to share. Senators smiling like they just don't care. They'll sell your future if the donor's right, pocketing billions in the pale moonlight. The whole damn swamp's a satanic spree. Even the devil flees Washington, D.C. The pedal bowed low, his fiddle dim low. You've outdone me here, your darkness wins the show. Well,